welcome to The Married Therapist,
a relationship podcast
hosted by us, Luis and Amber Simide.
This podcast is all about love, conflict, and the gray areas.
If you like what you hear, be sure to like and subscribe wherever you're listening. Now let's get to the show. Welcome back. So there are so many common myths and different things that people believe when it comes to marriage that we just do not agree with. So we're going to talk about them. And the first one is happy wife, happy life. What are your thoughts on that, Amber?
I've never liked that term my entire life. I heard years ago someone say it's not happy wife, happy life. It's happy spouse, happy house.
Yes.
And I love that because a marriage is not just about the woman.
Right.
It's about both people showing up and figuring it out together. If one person's needs are prioritized above the other, that's just kind of a recipe for disaster. That's my personal opinion. And I'm sure the research would probably support that, just because that means the partner, oftentimes the husband, and then the kids have to appease the wife. Sometimes that may look like walking on eggshells. And what about the husband's needs? At what point does he get to show up? At what point does it matter? So maybe this is a hot take, but I just think it should be both people. Like, what a concept for both people to show up equally in a marriage. I don't want to be like Queen Bee and it's like we all got to bow down to Amber. Because what about you? What about the fact that you may be going through something, or you want to attack something or just make changes? If I'm so in my own lane and selfish, that can lead to a whole bunch of other issues within you and then within our relationship. So yeah, I would challenge people who may heavily subscribe to that. One, I would say, what does that mean to you? And then two, I would say, okay, do both people get to show up in this relationship equally?
Yeah. No, 100%. And I love that you have that perspective, because I also have that perspective. And I feel like if I was to have that perspective and you didn't, I would just feel like I'm just being this like so chauvinistic man. Like, my needs matter too. But no, I agree. Like, both people's needs matter. And I've seen so many times where there is this idea of happy wife, happy life, and the guys end up like building resentment over time. Either that, or again, their needs aren't met and they're just kind of like disappearing in the background over and over again, to the point where they just no longer have any opinions, any thoughts, anything that they want to do. And they're just kind of happy to be here, and it's really sad, because I think everyone deserves to have their needs met. Everyone deserves to live their life to the fullest, and it shouldn't be just one person's life being fulfilled while the other person is just meeting those needs and not being their own person. So yeah, I don't love the idea of happy wife, happy life. Yeah, I do. I love happy spouse, happy house also. Now, I think some people live by that and it works for them, but honestly, I would be curious to ask the guys, like, if that wasn't the way you guys live your life, what would you want to do? Right. And I do wonder, because, with like sitcoms and things like that, there's always this mindset of like, oh, can't wait to get out of the house and be with my wife not here. It's like they're always wanting their wife to leave, or they're always wanting to be on their own. And it's like, why are you always trying to get away from your wife? And well, if it's always happy wife, happy life, I can see that.
Or the old ball and chain.
Yeah. And yeah, I just never, we talked about that when we were dating, about how people are just like, oh, I can't wait to get away from my wife, or vice versa. My husband drives me crazy. I can't wait till he leaves the house. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Or people saying like, are you sure you want to do it?
Yeah.
Or also, don't do it.
Right.
Which is 100% projection.
Like, oh, your life is over now. It's like, oh my gosh.
Our life has never been more fulfilling. So it's like, for you, like,
yes,
clearly you had some issues, but don't put that evil on me.
Oh, really? So that's the first one. Now, there are 9 other ones that we can go through that I looked up, so that we can just kind of talk about. And so the second one that I saw is love is enough. What are your thoughts on that? love being enough to just live this fulfilled life.
Whoa, what's love got to do with it? Got to do with it.
Yes.
That was the first thing that popped into my head. R.I.P. Tina. But at the end of the day, for me, love is a choice.
Hmm.
So, yes, it's a feeling that you have. However, that's fleeting. And it's just important every single day to wake up and choose your person.
Yeah.
So, making their lunch, checking on them during the day, choosing to spend time with them instead of your friend. It's so many decisions that we make throughout the day that all communicate love. Oh, you told me that you had a really hard project at work. And so I'm wanting to check in with you when you get home. Hey, how was that? Because when it comes to the feeling, yeah, there are some times when maybe you do something that is frustrating
Yeah.
and annoying, or it's hurtful. I may not feel love,
Yeah.
but I may not feel the flowers.
Mhm.
That's what I mean. The flowery light unicorn feeling when you did something intentionally or unintentionally that hurt me. And so the way that I see it, especially with this relationship, is kind of have to put that to the side. And at the end of the day, it's just like, no, I'm committed to you. I'm choosing you.
Right.
And so I'm still going to show up. I know I saw something online about that where the person was frustrated and then they're still like making the person's lunch, or they're
Yeah.
still
I've seen that.
all right, you ready to go shopping? You had a shopping date on the calendar.
Yeah.
Um
Let me go ahead and make this man's lunch.
yeah,
It's just like on
or
that.
like if you typically do the ironing or whatever, like
Yeah.
here's your uniform. So that's the way that I look at it. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, love is definitely important, and love, like you said, is a choice, and I believe that too. There are, I think, even just thinking about a job. I'm not saying marriage is a job, but I'm saying like if you love your job, there are days when you just don't want to go to work, but you choose to go to work because you don't want to lose your job, right? And so I think it's the same with relationships. Sometimes we are just not really feeling it. We're just kind of going through the motions, but at the end of the day, we have to choose every day to love each other and choose to do the things that we know are meeting each other's needs, even if we're not feeling these glowing emotions that we felt at the beginning of the relationship. And obviously, it ebbs and flows. Like there are days when it's just so present, and then there are days when it's just like been a very busy day, and we're just like want to watch Netflix and eat dinner in silence. And that doesn't mean we don't love each other. It just means we're tired, right? And so, yeah, I think there's so much more that goes into a relationship, a healthy relationship, than just love. Because, like you said, it is fleeting oftentimes. Now, I will say that the love grows deeper, and so when it's more rooted, it needs less watering, more or less, right? Just like a tree, right? Trees are kind of self-sufficient after a certain time, but it still needs water, right? Because if it goes through a drought, it still can die. So, I think, yeah, there definitely still needs some watering and all of that with any relationship. So yeah, it's important to have love for sure, and there's a lot more that goes into it.
And I just want to add, if you feel like the spark or the click has dissipated, do something about it.
Yeah.
We talked about choice. Well, same thing. Plan a date night, plan a trip, be spontaneous. You have to be intentional. You're not going to just always feel that if you don't do anything.
Right. Yeah.
If you do the same thing every single weekend, change it up. Go
Yeah.
bowling, play a board game,
Yeah.
write each other letters.
Mhm.
And there's just a million and one things that you could do. Google is free. I know some people
Yes, it
would be like, well,
is.
I'm not creative. You know what? We have something called the World Wide Web.
Yes. Also, Chat GPT can work wonders.
Yes, it can. Put
Yeah.
in those prompts. It will give you so many different ideas. So there's really no excuse.
Yeah, for sure. I do have a question though. So, if love isn't enough, what do you feel like are the other ingredients that are required for a healthy relationship besides love?
I think trust, communication,
Mhm.
loyalty,
Yeah.
consistency,
Mhm.
passion, pursuit.
Mhm.
just off of the top of my head.
Yeah, no, that's a great list right there because I think again, you can love someone so much, but if they are lying all the time and they're not remorseful for their lying, your love for that person may not be enough. And I guess people may say, well, does that person even love you because they're doing all this all the time? I don't know. But yeah, it needs to be mutual and there needs to be respect and all of that, like you just said, and communication, because that's obviously one of the biggest downfalls to most marriages is communication or lack of communication. So yeah, they can love each other, but if they're constantly missing each other, constantly miscommunicating, and there needs to be a lot that goes wrong with it that kind of deteriorates at that relationship. That's not the love in and of itself. So awesome. Okay, so the next one is never go to bed angry. Now, this is a super common one that I know a lot of people live and die by. They're like, don't go to bed angry on your love because it's going to fester and whatever. I do not believe that. I think oftentimes when we are angry, we're not thinking straight, right? Just some psych ed. When we are in that fight or flight mode, our frontal lobe, which is responsible for rational thinking, decision making, all that stuff, that tends to take a back seat when emotions are heightened. And so you cannot have a rational conversation in those moments. So sometimes just go to bed and wake up, your brain is regulated again, and you can have a conversation and think more clearly. And sometimes the things that you were mad about don't seem that big of a deal anymore. Then it's like, okay, I'm good. We can move on. Right now, I'm not saying that you're just sweeping things under the rug. If it's a big issue, like obviously you can talk about it. But if you wait till the next day to talk about it, you can talk with a more rational brain. So I think that's definitely one of the reasons why I think it's totally okay to go to bed angry.
Absolutely. I think that's the most gracious and logical and wonderful thing that you could do is get a good night's rest. But the key is always come back to it.
Yeah,
Like you mentioned, it's very easy to sweep it under the rug
yeah,
and, oh, it's fine, we're good. Or just storming out of the room.
yeah,
No, come to it. Now, the next day may not work because of whatever reason, but schedule that.
mhm,
Okay, maybe it's Wednesday and we can't really do it Thursday, but maybe Friday night we're gonna sit down,
mhm,
phones away, and we're gonna hash it out.
yeah,
Something I heard a while ago was sometimes it's helpful for couples to address conflict outside of the home.
yeah,
I think we mentioned that in a previous episode,
mhm,
but going to Starbucks or going to a park or even sometimes taking a drive if it's safe.
yeah,
Sometimes the lack of eye contact is helpful. You could just feel more comfortable expressing everything,
mhm,
and then you come home and everything is good.
yeah. And I like the idea of going out in public to do it because you're not going to be, I mean, I hope anyway, you're not going to be like yelling at each other in public. And so that could be a really good exercise in self control and actually listening to the person and hearing the words that they're saying. Because oftentimes we just get so caught up in the emotion, people start yelling and all that, and then you're just nobody's hearing anybody. So if you are in a neutral location, like Starbucks or something, talk it out, don't raise your voices, and use that as a way to just communicate. So yeah, I love that idea too.
One last thing that could be helpful because sometimes people just do not know how to have healthy conflict resolution. Write each other letters.
Hmm.
I've heard of someone doing that and it was really helpful.
Yeah.
And they would put it in a special area of their house. And so every time they came in, it was like, ooh, the person got mail.
Yeah.
So they would read the letter and they would respond through that.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah, this whole idea of, like, not going to bed angry, that's like, you're gonna go to it's fine if you're angry, go to bed. You're not gonna stay up until 3 in the morning just hashing something out because 'cause you're just gonna be tired and angry, that's, like, not a great combination. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's often preached in religious households
It is, yeah.
so that it has a deeper layer.
Mhm.
But I like that you provided that psych ed because I think that
Yeah.
can really set people free.
Yeah, for sure, and at the end of the day, it's important to recognize that you guys still love each other, like, you can say, like, "I love you. This is not going anywhere. Let's reconvene tomorrow or in 2 days," whatever. Like being like you said, be intentional about when you're going to do that. but recognize that you still love each other. And I don't know about sleeping in another room and all that. Like that might just make things worse. Maybe not if it works for you. I don't know. But yeah, angry is fine. Go to bed. Okay. The next one. If it's meant to be, it'll be easy.
No, I don't agree with that. It's very black or white. And we most of the time live in shades of gray.
Yeah.
It leaves no room for life. Life be life in. So
Yeah.
what happens then? At the end of the day, every relationship is going to have some level of conflict. You are not the same people, so there's going to be disagreements.
Right.
So the important thing is to have healthy conflict resolution. Then you can work your way through it.
Mm-hmm.
So that statement is just wild because it's very idealistic and that toxic positivity.
Yeah.
Good vibes only. This is meant to be, so this is going to be easy. It's pretty bizarre when you think about it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, especially people that like us have gone through a lot in our relationships previously, you're so scarred by that. I could see the appeal in something like that. Like, I'm only going to accept this and that. Everything has to be bright and shiny and wonderful.
Right.
Because that to me would equate to a green flag. Oh, they said they didn't want to go here. Red flag. Let's normalize how everything isn't a red flag.
Yeah.
A person is allowed to have a different opinion, or they are allowed to express something that may not really make sense to you. And that's okay. So it depends what we're talking about.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's okay. I would just say try to work through it in a healthy way. But again, I know that does require the other person to be a safe space. But yeah, I don't think it's healthy for someone to have that mentality because it's only going to set them up for failure.
Yeah. And I would say a caveat to that is just because it's not easy doesn't mean it has to be tumultuous. Right. So, our relationship is healthy and we're not fighting or anything like that. But I wouldn't say it's been easy. Like there have been things that we've had to work through that we are working through still. But it doesn't have to, like we talked about in our previous episode about fighting and all of that. Like disagreements doesn't have to mean fighting, and it doesn't have to mean that we just never have conflict, because conflict is a part of relationships. Like you said, we're two different people and you're coming together. So it's not going to be easy. So if you have any kind of conflict, that shouldn't be a sign that it's not healthy. It just means you're both human and you have different opinions, and that's okay, depending on what the opinions are, right? So, but yeah. So I agree. It's never just going to be easy with no conflict. That's just not reality. Okay. Next one is your partner should complete you. Oh boy. I hear this all the time. I actually talked to someone about this a few years ago where he was adamant that his person completes him. Like he needs her. He would not be himself without her. I'm just like, yikes. And I get the sentiment. He really loves her, all that. But I think that's really damaging for your person to complete you, because what that's saying is you need this person to be a full person. And that's not healthy. I think healthy relationships are two whole people coming together and creating a new thing with two whole parts. It's not half a person and half a person making one whole person. That's not a thing. And when you have that mindset, it can be really easy to be codependent on that person and really not really have a sense of self anymore, because you need this person to do anything. Now, I know some people may have different opinions about that, but that's really how I see it. So what are your thoughts on my
I
person completes me?
No, I agree. I think the person should compliment you and not complete you. Because to your point, let's say the person did something that really hurt you and you had a very difficult time making sense of that. If they are your everything, you're going to fall so hard and it's going to be very difficult to process that, bounce back, make sense of that. And to kind of be more extreme, like what if they died?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, death is very difficult for anybody, But if you're codependent, it's going to be even more difficult, and you might experience something called complicated grief,
Right.
where you're just never the same. It truly impacts you on every single level for a very long time compared to someone else where it still is devastating, but that person is able to,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say move on because you truly never do move on, but the person is still able to do,
Like recover.
right.
Yeah.
They're able to do all their responsibilities and to even sometimes eventually find love with someone else, which I know that may be controversial too. But if you are a whole person and the person that you're with truly complements you and doesn't complete you, that's such a strength.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be able to, I don't want to say tolerate more, but you'll just be able to go through life stronger.
Yeah, for sure.
And who doesn't want that? Who's trying to be devastated all the time? I don't
Yeah.
think most of us want to sign up for that. So what does that mean being whole? It means you have your own friends. It means maybe your own hobbies. It means even just being able to communicate better, or being able to regulate your emotions, things like that. You take ownness of certain things. Maybe you know that you're slipping in one area, so you read a book or listen to a podcast or go to therapy. Maybe you talk to a coworker about something and you're open to feedback compared to someone who's in that situation where they're enmeshed and codependent. You may feel less inclined to seek help, whether that's just within yourself or outside help.
Yeah, and I think if you have that mindset that my person completes me, it can be a lot easier to stay in really unhealthy relationships. You know, if this person is constantly cheating on you and you just can't leave them because they complete you, you're going to put up with a lot more than what you should. But if you were complete and whole as a person, you could realize that, okay, this person is showing me that they don't care about me. Yeah, I'll be hurt, but I will be okay if I remove myself from that situation and live on my own again. Because if you're not, you're gonna stay stuck in pretty terrible situations.
Agreed. And that reminded me, something I heard a while ago was you date at the level of your self confidence.
Yeah,
So for someone who is codependent, they possibly do have kind of a low sense of self or that low self-confidence. So it would make sense why they would tolerate certain things
right.
compared to someone who is whole. They probably have a stronger sense of self, more self-confidence. And so, like you said, they can recognize, okay, this is not okay. I'm not going to tolerate that. I'm going to set boundaries and I'm going to leave because this is no longer serving me.
Yeah, 100%. I love that. Okay. And the next one is marriage means giving up your independence. This is kind of what we were talking about earlier with people being like, oh, your life is over when you get married. And like, oh my gosh, talking about projection, like you were talking about earlier. But yeah,
Yeah, it's just all about one, what does independence mean?
yeah.
Now, of course, when you're single, even when you're dating, you can do whatever you want, meaning travels or friends or whatnot. When you get married, your schedule is not going to look exactly the same because you have another person's needs to consider,
Right.
which makes sense. Kind of similar to when you have a kid. You're not going to be able to do all the things you used to do because you have a kid you've got to take care of. Now, having a partner is very different, obviously, because they can take care of themselves.
Hopefully.
Um, but yeah, if somebody is telling you that, I would just figure out, is this projection or is there any merit to it? And if so, what does that look like for me?
Yeah.
Now, let's say you love going, I know on a season of Married at First Sight, the girl loved to go to the club.
Oh yeah.
She was always dancing in the club. I believe it was during the week too.
Yeah. Like not even like Saturday with her girls or anything like that. Just
Yeah. So let's say you are at the club 4 times a week as a non married person. When you get married and you have a discussion of scheduling, maybe a compromise would be instead of going 4 times a week, maybe two,
hmm
because it is important to invest and foster the relationship. And that's through time spent.
Yeah, for sure.
So I do think it is important to look at your schedule and figure things out. But do I believe that you have to completely stop being who you are when you get married? Absolutely not. Like,
Yeah.
still go to the club, or if you love to go on long runs Saturday morning, oh, I have to give that up. Not necessarily. It's really about you and your spouse having a conversation about what do our schedules typically look like, and then when we get married, how can we make it work?
Hmm. Yeah, I love that because it's very black and white. Like you lose your independence when you get married, and it's like no, like it's not one or the other. It's not like you're either independent or you're completely just with your spouse all day every day. Like there is definitely a lot of middle ground there, and I think, like you said, it's important to look at what do I do as a single person and how can this fit now that I have another person with me? Is there can I do it with them, right? Or will there be things that she's doing that I can do on my own? Or, just figuring out what works for you. Because yeah, I think losing your complete independence is not okay. And it again leads to that codependent thing again. Like if you're just always doing stuff with each other and never doing things on your own. Like I know you do things on your own sometimes. I do things on my own sometimes. And it's okay, like we're secure in our relationship. And I think that's really the big thing with a lot of people who don't feel like they can do anything on their own anymore is that they are a little bit more insecure or maybe anxious in their attachment style where they feel like if their person leaves on their own, they're going to cheat on them or they're going to do something that they're not supposed to do, and maybe there's a lot of history there and all of that, but I think you have to look at what is reasonable, what is healthy, and still live your life in a way that works for you too. You're both of you.
Yeah, and that's an issue of trust,
Mhm.
which they've got to work on. And also, if somebody doesn't want you to have your own life, that's power and control,
Yeah.
which is very unhealthy.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of different layers here. It's a nuanced conversation. But yeah, at the end of the day, your partner is not your parent
No, they're not.
or your manager.
Yeah.
So you should have every right. I remember my mom told me when I was in my first marriage, she's like, you should have every right to get up and go to Starbucks if you want or
Mhm.
go on a run if you want. And I remember she told me this during my intervention. And that is such a simple concept, but in the moment, that seemed so wild.
Mhm.
And that's because I was always with him. I was never allowed to be by myself. He
Mhm.
isolated me so much. It was suffocating.
Yeah.
And that was a whole thing. Check out episode 2 of our podcast. I talk all about my abusive first marriage
Mhm.
if you haven't listened to that. But it's just not a good thing. It
Yeah.
it doesn't lead anywhere. And people like that will say, "Oh, it's because I care. I just want to make sure that you're safe and you're okay and I just love you so much. I just want to be with you all the time."
Yeah.
A suffocating feeling is not ever gonna amount to anything good.
It will not. Yeah, independence is definitely important in any relationship, because just like we talked about before with the person completing you, like you should be totally independent on your own and your partner should be independent on their own. And then you come together and figure out how you can still be independent while you're a couple. Right. And so, yeah, it takes compromise and it takes discussions and coordinating and all that stuff, but it's possible.
And last thing, it is important to not be hyper independent
Right.
because sometimes, especially as women, we get in that lane for various reasons. And then sometimes a partner comes into that person's life and they don't know what their place is
Hmm.
because you've got everything handled.
Right.
So it is important to let your guard down. I know that does take trust and time and things like that, but it is important to do some give and take.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's a trauma response for a lot of people. Trauma response and then also just like avoidant attachment styles tend to be more standoffish and be more hyper independent. And yeah, I think definitely takes some work through therapy and just figuring yourself out to see how can I let this person in and really meet my needs, even if I can meet my own needs, allowing this person to meet my needs in ways that they want to or I can.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. The next one is sex should always be spontaneous and amazing. Oh boy.
That's very black or white.
Yeah.
That word always.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, life be lifing,
Mhm.
and sometimes that spark, the click, may not be there because you're tired because of the kids, because of the state of our world. And so scheduled sex may just be the thing that's helpful. Like, okay, Friday night or Monday night, it's going down. Also, you can definitely be spontaneous here
Yeah.
and there, but to have that as a standard, it must be
Yeah.
spontaneous and fireworks every single time, 10 out of 10. It's just setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah, for sure. And I think especially as you get busier in life, scheduling is kind of the way to go for I wouldn't say the majority of the time, but it is important to schedule if it's been a while, if you guys are both busy, like make time for it. I always say you have time for your priorities. And so if you want to make it a priority and you're not having it, then it's like, well, is it really a priority for you? Or do you just need to make it a priority? So, I think yeah, scheduling is helpful. And as far as it being, amazing every time, sometimes it's just I think a lot of times people they get sucked into what they see in the media, whether that's through movies or pornography, really. Like it's this thing that is explosive and, crazy and sweating and, all this crazy
It's
stuff. And it's like,
a fantasy.
yeah. And at the end of the day, it is a way to express your love to your spouse or to your partner. And it's a way to connect. So it doesn't have to be this crazy experience. It can be every once in a while, right? That's fun. But sometimes it's just you're just connecting, right? It's just like kisses, like hugs, like it's just another way to connect.
Yeah. And just because it may not be a 10 out of 10 every time doesn't mean that it's bad.
Yeah, or something's wrong with the relationship. Yeah. So pretty simple on that one. Okay. Next one is ooh, this is a big one. Kids should always come first. Oh man. So we don't have kids, but this is something that I feel very strongly about this one because I've worked with so many parents of kids, and so often you see the parents, typically the mom, but I've seen the dad too, put the kids first. Or the parents themselves, they put the kids first. Like everything's for the kids, everything's for the kids. And what you see is the marriage suffers because when your focus is only the kids, when the kids leave eventually, it's just going to be you two. So it was you two before the kids got here in most relationships. It'll be you two when the kids leave. So if you're not putting effort into that relationship, you're not going to know who your partner is when your kids leave. And I've seen so many times where couples get divorced when they become empty nesters because it's like they don't even know who they're living with anymore, right? Because we change naturally in our life. So if you're not being intentional about this relationship, if you're not putting effort into the relationship, it's not going to sustain itself. It's not an evergreen that's just gonna, you know, live its life without any watering. I mean, intentionality. So that's kind of where I stand on that.
Yeah. And I want to say, of course, kids require a lot of attention.
Yes.
Kids need so much from you on every level. So
Mhm.
we are not saying neglect your kids.
Right. Yeah.
Give your kids everything that they need.
Yeah.
What we are saying is somehow, some way, if you can be intentional about fostering your relationship, do so. What does
Hmm.
that look like? Maybe waking up a little early to connect with your partner, going to bed a little late.
Hmm.
If you can, maybe connecting with your partner during your lunch break, writing little letters to each other, texting each other, getting
Yeah.
a sitter to watch the kids. I know that's a privilege. Sometimes people don't have family or friends, or they can't afford to pay someone. But just doing whatever you can. Maybe you guys cooking together. Maybe you don't even have to leave the house, but it's just kids in one room playing and then you and your partner having a little cooking date
Hmm.
night. And I know kids will come up and
Yeah.
mommy, but really just being intentional about moments like
Hmm.
that. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Hmm.
And maybe you only get to do that every 6 months. That's still something.
Yeah.
People may be like, I'm so tired, or I don't even have the capacity. Nobody's saying you have to go on a date night twice a week,
Yeah.
but if you could do something twice a month, that's still something.
Yeah, for sure.
And hopefully, the older that the kids get, the more independent they'll be, and that'll open up some more space for you guys to be able to be intentional with each other.
Yeah, for sure, and it goes back to what I was saying before, you always have time for your priorities, right? So, schedule some time, right? Like, it and I know things are unpredictable with kids, like, they get sick at the worst times all the time, but make a plan, I always like to say make a plan with, like, open fists, like, loose fists, right? So, like, not holding such a tight grip on it that if it changes, like, you can't handle it. Like, have plans, but make it flexible enough to switch it if you need to. So, if you need to cancel that reservation, make it for next week, do that. But yeah, be intentional about it because it can be very easy to just kind of get into the routine and everything just kind of fall behind. But I love what you said about even if it's every 6 months, if it's planned, you're putting intention behind it, right? So you're not just saying when we have time, we will do this. Like, no, you need to determine when you're going to do it and build your life around that, right? So, yeah, I mean, obviously, I know it's easier said than done for a lot of people, but just because you can't get it perfect right now doesn't mean you can't start somewhere. So, if this is you, if you're listening and you haven't had a date night in a long time, feel like you're not prioritizing your spouse, take this as your sign to put something on the books.
Yes, I agree. And last thing I want to say is that it's important for both people to be intentional. It does not
Yeah.
fall on one person.
Mhm.
Let's say there's one person who may be the extrovert, or maybe the planner, or maybe the creative person. It does not fall on them alone. It is important for both people to put forth effort. It may look different,
Mhm.
but that's okay. I just want to make sure that whoever's listening, whatever side of the fence they're on, they know that this is a 50-50 kind of thing.
Mhm. Yeah, and I know someone who they don't do date nights in the classic sense all the time where they don't, like, go out and stuff because their kids are fairly young, but after the kids go to sleep, they make themselves a drink, they have some snacks, and they watch Netflix for 2 hours, and that's, like, their connecting time, their date night that they have almost every day after the kids go to sleep. Obviously, if they're sick and all that stuff, they can't, but, yeah, they just spend intentional time together, disconnecting from their phones, being with each other, and then having that as their routine before they go to bed.
Yeah, you could do Netflix, you can do a little at-home painting,
Mhm.
you can play a board game.
Yeah.
There's so many creative things that you could do at home and save money, you don't need a sitter.
Yeah. And I know people are tired and they just kinda wanna veg out. So, I get it, but you can do something for an hour. You know?
Especially if it's like once every 6 months.
No, really, I know.
Sometimes
Yeah.
people don't realize they have more capacity than they think they
Mhm.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not saying you gotta do this twice a week. Every 6 months to do an at-home date night, I would say is pretty feasible for most people.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, I know a lot of people that this couple that I'm talking about, they look forward to it. Like they can't wait till their kids go to bed because that's their time to connect. And they're just like they're so excited for it. And that keeps that spark alive because they're looking forward to connecting. And even if they're tired, they can be tired together. Like as long as they're together and spending time with each other, like that's everything. So okay, next one, and this is the last one that we are going to talk about, and this is a big one too. If your partner loves you, they should just know what you need or know what you want.
Your
Okay.
partner is not a psychic.
They are not.
They cannot read your mind.
Yeah.
Even high school sweethearts who are in their 50s, they've known each other for decades. You will not know every single thing.
Mhm.
We are always evolving.
Yeah.
And the person you fell in love with at 16 is not the same person at 55.
Mhm.
So trust and believe. I know it's annoying. I've dealt with it myself. I've talked to my therapist. I'm like, well, he should just know. Why do I have to spoon feed him stuff? And she just was like, he's not a mind reader, Amber. And it's like, you know what? It was a good reminder. He's not. You have to communicate
Mhm.
what you want. And sometimes it does mean more than once. That's another
Yeah.
thing too, especially with women. Well, I already told him, which I'm guilty myself.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what would it look like to just say it again?
Mhm.
Have you ever needed something repeated? So let's not be allergic to
Yeah.
communication.
Yeah, and now I will say there are things that we learn about each other that we just know. Like I know if I'm going to get her ice cream, anything peanut butter or banana flavor will be great. And so I know that. So I don't need to ask her that. So in that sense, yeah, she doesn't need to communicate that necessarily. But if there's something that she wants or needs in the moment that she's just like, well, he knows I had this crazy day. He should know that I would want a treat. It's like, no, I don't know that. I did not know that. Communicate that, please. Yeah. So yeah, I think people get in their head and they think that everyone should know them or their partner should know them. And yeah, they know you. And if you want your needs met, ask for them. And I know it is annoying because it's like I don't want to have to ask. But if you don't ask, you're not going to get your needs met. Then you're both going to be mad.
And do you know everything about your partner?
No, I know.
We got to be real.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yes. So communicate your needs. It's not the end of the world. Just communicate. You'll be fine, I promise. So that's it for this episode. Let us know if you guys have any others that you feel like are common, but you don't necessarily agree with, or if anything that we said really resonated with you. Let us know that too. We would love to hear it.
As always, please be sure to subscribe, follow, like, comment, and share. Maybe there's someone who is dating someone or engaged or even married and you think that they could benefit from it. Absolutely let them know. And also, we were doing the Reddit stories a while ago. We'll still do those. But if you have a relationship dilemma that you want us to address, please email us at semidaysquad@gmail. Semidey is our last name, SEMIDEY squad@gmail. We will read it. It will be anonymous, so you won't have to worry about us putting you on blast, but we would love to address it.
Yes. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you later.
Bye.